so come right in. Rock flag and eagle.
All right, welcome everybody back to another edition of Chairgatin. I'm your host, Rattlesnake, coming at you live from Austin, Texas. And if everything is right, we should be live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook this time, because last time I messed that up somehow. We are continuing our co-host challenge. This week, I had to finally bring in my Urska iRacing driver for the Chairgatin car, Chris Wright. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me on. That intro is awesome, by the way. I don't know if I ever told you.
It is, right? I made that myself, just so you know. With all of my video editing experience, I was able to make that all by myself. So professional. Chris, have you ever been on the show before?
Yeah, one time, yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome back. You've never been on it while we've done video, though, correct?
No, this is the first time that everybody gets to see my face.
Unfortunately, yes. So this is Chris Bad Takes, the guy that always is in the comment section of every one of my shows. So I guess no one's going to be commenting this show because you're here. He always has the worst takes, surprisingly bad takes. And he throws out so many that occasionally one will be decent, but usually they're pretty bad. So I had to have him finally on the show.
They're pretty good, usually.
No,
people don't agree with them.
Yeah, that's I think that kind of sums it up. So had to have him on the show finally. He is the driver for the 69 Nice Chairgatin car in Urska, the iRacing League. Which, are you wearing the Urska hat?
Yes, I am. I got the Urska hat.
Yeah, you got the... Yep, there you go. That is an iRacing league that it's solely sponsored now by Belly of Sports, right? Or that's the main sponsor.
Yeah, Belly Up does a lot for Urska. Great league.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Like I said, Chairgatin, we have a car in there, number 69, obviously. And Chris is the driver for it. And Chris is actually, even though his takes are terrible, he's a pretty decent iRacing driver. I'll at least give you that, Chris. No wins yet, though. This season so far. Yeah, no wins yet, though, so it's a little disappointing. You haven't got any cool paint schemes because you haven't earned them yet.
I think the one we're driving, that rusty car, is pretty awesome.
That was your favorite one, right? I think that's why I just kept it. Yeah, so
great looking car.
I guess first and foremost, let's talk about Phoenix. What'd you think?
Thought it was a great race. Pit road seemed to be an issue for Kyle Larson, especially.
Yeah, a few people.
Yeah, speeding was an issue, but he had a great car. He was probably the best car. I think at the end, maybe not quite as good as he was at the start, but he was pretty good to recover from, the green flag one, especially to not get lapped.
Yeah, and I'm wearing my Tracker Boats hat for Martin Truex Jr. Finally got a win. I'm not necessarily a Martin Truex Jr. fan. I guess I'm indifferent towards him. I liked that he won a championship at Furniture Row. That was cool. So anyway, he got his first win at Phoenix ever, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. And fifth different winner of the season. Playoffs are going to get pretty crazy if we keep getting different winners.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the winners have been wild, kind of all over the place. This is the first time that we've got this season a victory from a top contender. Somebody that actually I would expect to get a win. So that was kind of cool. But also, it was still the first time he's ever won at Phoenix. So still kind of a first time winner. Will he be number one in standings, you think, now?
I am not sure. Probably not. Byron ran pretty decent today to get stage points and whatnot. McDowell's had a strong start. He didn't run very good today. Trying to think here. Larson's been pretty sporty too.
Yeah, and I mean, Brad K, I know he was pretty high in the standings before this race as well, and he finished 4th. So I think he's going to be a guy that we're going to kind of keep seeing up there throughout the season. But yeah, the season's been kind of wild so far. We've been seeing a lot of newcomers, first-time winners. Truex now in the playoffs, where I figured he would be. But I think it was Mike Joy. I think it was Mike Joy at the end of the race that said, like, are we going to see 16 winners? Because it seems like the season is a little wild with how many winners we're seeing.
I don't know if we'll get to 16. It'll be
I don't think we'll
close,
get to 16.
maybe. But, I mean, you still have, Chase hasn't won. Bowman hasn't. And Bowman, how about that recovery for them today to get, into the wall, get wrecked, and he came back. I'm not sure where he finished. I know he ran top 15 the last 13. Half of the race. 13?
13, yeah.
Great recovery for a wrecked car.
Yeah, I agree. Any opinion on Bubba Wallace this race?
They did a good job from the strategy standpoint, I thought, today to give themselves a shot. It seemed like he was running pretty good there towards the end. I think he was running, 8th or 9th, and then they stayed out. So I don't know if maybe they ran out of tires, didn't have a set to put on with everybody else, or what the deal was there.
Yeah, he's the driver that I said at the beginning of the season. He's going to be the one I'm watching the closest, or one of the drivers I'm watching the closest. Obviously, Kyle Larson was one of those drivers as well, and Kyle Larson's already proving to me that he is as good as we kind of expected him to be. Bubba Wallace was the other driver that I was going to really be paying attention to this season. I'm trying to keep personal bias out of it. Just want to see how he does in that new equipment and the new team. I was very skeptical of him going in. So I've been very vocal about that. I haven't hidden the fact that I'm skeptical of him. And this race, once again, showed me that I still don't know how to feel about him. Yeah, I'm so indecisive in terms of how well of a driver I think he can be, because he shows spurts of like, wow, this is a quality driver in some pretty good equipment. And then he just always falls to the back again. So I don't know how I should feel.
For the equipment he was in today was still not a great run. I mean, the last part of that race, they had a pretty decent run, but the first, 200 laps, they were not a factor. He was fighting at the end of stage 2 to stay on the lead lap. And he's not in pretty good equipment anymore. He's in the best equipment on the racetrack.
You think he's in the best equipment on the racetrack?
Man, Gibbs cars, that's top. Gibbs stuff is top of the line. I think it's right there with everybody. I think when I say the best equipment, I think of Penske, Gibbs, Hendrick, those three.
So he has the same equipment as anyone driving for Gibbs, is what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, we have a comment here, finally, since Chris isn't commenting, and I think this perfectly sums up Chris being on the show, that the show is just not good anymore, and it's going downhill. Judy, I totally agree with you. This show has gone completely downhill because we have Chris Wright on the show. It's pretty bad. I agree. So
I think overall, it's a great show.
Overall, I think Phoenix was pretty good. Where would you rank it in terms of the other races we've had this season?
Oh, man, there's been so few races. Vegas was so good. I thought today was a good race. But, man, I don't know. Maybe the 500 was the only one that would be worse. But the 500 wasn't bad. It's just everybody wrecked on lap 15.
That's exactly what I was going to mention. I was going to say, I think maybe the 500 is the only one that's been worse than this one this season, but they've also both been good races. Yeah, because I think the other side of the coin, you could say, with the 500 is at least it was really exciting, like it always is. This one, although there was a lot of lead changes, it felt like, at least towards the end, I was like, okay, I'm phoning this in. I know Truex is winning this race at this point. Maybe it's just me, but
I'm not sure if the VHT helps or hurts the racing at Phoenix. It kind of takes the one lane to the top. I feel like Phoenix maybe shouldn't be using that anymore.
Yeah,
especially with the package. They got the short track package now. I don't think it's needed.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Overall, the season's been great, and Phoenix, I think, was just another some more proof of how good this season has been. And I keep joking about how the marketing was, maybe the best season yet, which obviously it's not the best season yet, but the best season in a few years, I would say.
Starting off pretty crazy with the different winners. We had, Byron. A lot of people were saying, he should be let go at Hendrick. He hasn't been performing. Well, he finally got a good crew chief for him that fits him. He's ran top 10 every race, got that win in Homestead, looked good everywhere. Michael McDowell, that team has got some speed that carried on from Daytona. They ran good at the road course. They ran decent at Vegas. I think, sixth last week at Vegas. Today was their worst run, and they ran, right around 20th all day. So that team's came a long way.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess just moving forward into the future of NASCAR, something that I've talked about a few times but haven't really dove into is next season with the next gen cars and what that's going to look like. I know you are not a fan of what we've heard about the next gen cars. Is this correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so what's your gripe with the next gen cars specifically?
Well, it appears they're moving the numbers back. First and foremost.
Do you think they're really going to do that?
Yeah, some images have leaked out from a car that's at the Hall of Fame behind closed doors.
There's no way they do it. I mean, that's just crazy. I know they've been toying with it, but I think that's insane.
I'm not a fan of that, but that's just strictly looking at the car. It's not going to change the racing.
Right.
But the one lug nut stuff, I hate it. Hate one lug stuff. That's not for NASCAR. The fuel clamp, not a fan of, doing away with the fueler. Just going to fill these cars up. And I think the pit stops are going to be less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds like the pit crew is really just going to become kind of obsolete in a way, or at least really tarnish the importance of a good pit crew at NASCAR.
And I think NASCAR has been moving that direction when you look at some of these truck and Xfinity races where they don't have pit stops anymore. It's all controlled. They throw caution in some of these races. Saw it a lot with the Truck Series last year. Most of their standalone events, they would just throw caution, you get to pit, and as long as you didn't get lapped, you got your spot back. It was just, they say it's a cost-saving measure, but I think that hurts the racing, the product.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would tend to agree with you. I don't know why. I guess the cost-saving thing, but cost-saving how? I mean, are they going to start firing pit crew members because they're not going to need as many, right? Or am I crazy?
I mean, yeah, they've taken away pit crew members. It wasn't that long ago that you had 7-8 men over the wall, and now it's down to 4 or 5 every week. That's all it's allowed. So I just think they're trying to eliminate, the crew members, and then the cost saving measure for the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, they say, is because they have to pay to use Cup crews. So that costs the teams a lot of money to use Cup crews, and they're eliminating that from the cost of that team.
I mean, the only cost that I think NASCAR should concern themselves about cutting is the car itself. Teams shouldn't be going under because they can't afford another car. I think that's the main issue, and that's the one thing that they should be focusing on, not, taking away time for lug nut changes or refueling.
Well, with the new car, they say it's supposed to be cheaper and everything. It's going to cost more out of the gate because you're going to have to get all new stuff, but they say it should be cheaper. I believe they're going to do the same thing that the trucks do. It's going to be a spec engine, but I don't think that's coming for a couple years. I think we're going to get the new car, and then a year or two later, the spec engine's going to come. But they're moving to the straight line transmission next year with 6 gears. I think for road courses, it's going to look a lot like a IMSA GT car. It's going to race like that. The pit stops are going to look that.
I mean, that makes sense with the schedule changes they've been adding. Just so much more road courses. I could see them going that direction.
And I like the road courses. I think what they have right now is perfect.
Too
But
many.
I agree. Doing with what they're doing, I think maybe they're looking to add more even.
I think they will add more. And I think this is just the beginning, and it should concern people. Because personally, I don't like the road courses. I know I don't think I'm in the majority in that opinion, at least not on Twitter. But yeah, I think it seems like they're going to be going that direction with this new car. I think that although, maybe this new car isn't going to be great for racing, as you've put it, I'm hoping that it'll improve RCR's chances of getting some victories, because I know they've been kind of on the front end of helping to develop this new car. So that's been my hope. Just every time RCR does bad this season, I just keep telling myself, well, they'll get some victories next season.
I don't know if it's going to help or hurt the racing. Some of the things that I've heard, I don't like from the standpoint of a race fan, a NASCAR fan, and some of the stuff that they're doing to these cars now. They're kind of eliminating what NASCAR was 20 years ago. But if it improves the racing on the ovals and across the board, then great. I'll jump off of, the gripes I have with it because it's made the racing better. The NASCAR said they're staying with the 550. That's their horsepower range. They're staying with that with the new car. Downforce levels on the car, really don't know those yet. But, we'll see.
Do you think they'll increase or decrease downforce, though?
I think they'll decrease. I think you've seen that with them adding more tracks this season to the low downforce package. I think you'll see them maybe make that package work with the new car next season.
That would be like the one thing that they actually do that NASCAR fans have been asking for.
Because they added all the road courses this year, right? Are the low downforce. They added Darlington, which now has 2 races, and Nashville is going to be low downforce. Which
I still don't agree with the 2 races at Darlington, even though it's my favorite track probably in the entire schedule. I just think it was special having it on the Labor Day weekend. So, everybody has Monday off already. Everyone's just having a good time on Sunday. And you're going to be going to Darlington this year, right? First time?
Yep, we're going in May. But it kind of takes me back, Darlington getting its second race back, because up until, 05 or 06, it had 2 races every year. Had a spring race and a fall race.
Yeah,
so,
look,
it's a great track.
That's not one I'm going to, necessarily gripe on. I just like the Labor Day weekend race with the throwback paint schemes for Labor Day. I just thought that was always special. But, if they started taking away some of those road courses and just adding Darlington races, I guess I wouldn't complain.
But they moved the throwback race. The throwback race is the May date now.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I think you'll have a great time at Darlington. Like I said, that's been my favorite track for a long time. It really is like an old school. It feels like you're going back in time to watch a NASCAR race, just because
I'm looking forward to it.
The track is still like old. Like it's not like a nice new clean grandstands. I mean, it's old, and there's 2 sides of the grandstands that you sit on. It's almost like a high school football stadium. It's not big. It's just bleachers. And, you get rubber in your teeth if you sit too close. It just feels like a local track that you go to on a Saturday night. It's in a small town in the middle of, nowhere, in between South Carolina and North Carolina. It's great. Everything about it, I love it. The atmosphere alone.
I've never been there. I'm looking forward to going. We used to go down there to Rockingham every year when I was a kid. We had season tickets to Rockingham, and I know that that's pretty close.
Yeah, that's not far. That's a couple hours, I think, tops. Yeah, not too far from there. And you're located in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Gross. And yet you're a TCU fan, correct?
That's right. Horned Frogs.
How? How are you a TCU fan in Ohio?
I didn't become a TCU fan until about 10 or 12 years ago. I grew up in Ohio. Everybody here is a Buckeye. I wasn't going to be a Buckeye.
That's fair.
So for a long time, I rooted for USC for a long time when I was a kid. And
why?
Carroll
Why? You just were like, I just want to pick a random team that's really good?
Growing up, my dad hated USC and Michigan, and I wasn't going to root for Michigan. Don't like Michigan at all, and so I picked
So you
USC.
just have daddy issues, is what you're saying. Okay.
It's never fun to root for the same team, and
Okay, so
worked
you
out.
randomly changed it up and you were like, now I'm a TCU fan because I really like to cheer for small, private, rich kid schools in Texas. That was your thinking process?
I really like Gary Patterson. I'd seen him on ESPN a couple times. I really it was a new school that I hadn't, here in Ohio, you hadn't seen a lot about. And they burst onto the scene, and then it pretty much solidified for me when the Bengals took Dalton in the draft. So I've rooted
And
for TCU ever since. I still love Dalton. I know he's not in Cincinnati anymore, but that guy's a great guy. Did a lot for the community in Cincinnati. I'm not sure there's a better, nicer guy in the NFL.
I mean, I can't speak to that, but yeah, your beloved TCU. What they have, like 5 basketball wins this season, so congratulations there. They definitely won't be making the tournament. Good job.
They did not make the tournament today. They did not.
Yeah, surprisingly, with their like 5 combined wins the entire season. I'm being hyperbolic, but they were terrible. And my team, my school that I actually attended, which is why I'm a fan, University of Houston, we're a 2 seed. Just so you know, just updating you.
I saw that.
On
I
how
saw you put that on Twitter.
Texas sports is going.
Congratulations.
Yes. So
Congratulations on making it. Hopefully they do well.
I think we'll do great.
I saw Kentucky didn't even make the tournament, so that's
yeah, or
pretty
Duke.
awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, moving back to racing, I just had to throw that out there, rub it in your face a little bit. Moving back to racing though, I wanted to talk to you about iRacing specifically because that's what you do. Obviously not for a living, or else we would both be making money, but that's what you do in your free time. And you said we were talking about next gen cars for NASCAR, and you were telling me that iRacing has a new car coming out, a new configuration. I don't really know how these things work. I don't keep up with iRacing stuff.
A new build just came out for iRacing. Every 13 weeks they change it up, and this new build seemed to add the ability for us to run the wall at some tracks, move around instead of it being kind of a single lane and just not great racing.
Okay, so when does this take effect?
This week it took effect. The next IRSCA race is at Homestead, I believe, and that's one of the tracks where we should have the ability to run anywhere on the track. So if you tune into IRSCA this weekend, or this Monday, tomorrow night, should see something that us drivers aren't used to yet.
Okay, so does that mean you're going to get a win, finally?
I don't know. But hey, we won last year. Got second in the points. It's been
We
a
won
rough
last
start
year. That's okay. As the car
it's been a
owner,
slow
I'm
start.
concerned.
Daytona, we got caught up in a wreck. We had a good run at Iowa, finished 4th. And then last week in Atlanta, we took off good. We had a decent car. Driver error with 20 to go. I drove it up into the fence a little bit, and it ruined our race. So that was on me. We're gonna get some wins at some point. They're coming.
Yeah, I'm
It's a lot
just
more
saying
competitive this year. We got a lot of new guys too. Lots of new guys joined.
I have high expectations. It's the 69 nice car.
I have high expectations too.
It's the premier car in IRSCA.
disappointed.
I think everyone knows that.
All the paint. There's no paint scheme out there that looks better than ours, for sure.
Right. It's the premier car. I mean, who's leading right now in IRSCA?
I have no idea.
Is it like Massey or something?
No, Nick hasn't had. Nick flipped again last week. Nick got his yearly flip in at Iowa last week. So got that out of the way.
He's usually pretty good.
I told him. I told him next year he should shoot for Martinsville or somewhere where it's really hard to get upside down. Really challenge himself.
Yeah, there you go.
To flip somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you can start winning, then maybe we can build out this team and have a 2-car team It'll be 96 and 69 or something like that, or 420 if we can have 3 digits.
We're going to try to, man. We take away Daytona, we've been good. We were top 10 last week, and I messed up there on a late run. And, Daytona, we were sitting to finish top 10 and got wrecked in the last lap. So, we only ran 3 races. There's plenty of time. I'm looking forward to Homestead. I've been really practicing running the wall, trying to figure out where the speed's at. We, Josh and myself and Colin ran some practice laps Thursday night, really tried some different things, did a mock race run. I think the racing at Homestead is going to be pretty incredible to watch.
And while we're talking about iRacing and Erskine, one thing that I figured we could talk about, maybe a little bit more, is Brandon Key, guy that was on this podcast 2 episodes ago, I believe. I think it was a week ago on Sunday. He is not racing in Erskine anymore, correct?
He is sitting out right now. I think he's going to have his stuff back. He's not going to lose his entry or anything into Erskine, but he's dealing with some issues and he's taking a break, taking a step back. We're thinking about him, hoping he gets better, gets his issues fixed. I know he's been to the doctor a couple times, so still in contact. I got some things to do for him tonight. I told him I'll help him out with whatever I can.
Yeah, I think maybe we could help him out by sending him a better hat. I think that'll help him feel better, because his Indiana Jones hat was not cutting it. He needs a good looking hat like I always have. I think that would help him out. So, okay. Well, so then he's just kind of like sitting out for a few races in Erskine, but he's going to be able to come back at any point.
It'll be the ability for him to come back will be there whenever he wants it. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't think he has an idea. He just said that he needs to take a step back and focus on getting himself right.
He should send me his equipment. I'll fill in for him.
He might be watching.
He better be watching. He probably isn't, though. He didn't even watch an episode when I told him to prepare. He didn't even watch. He listened to the audio version. I told him specifically watch the video version, and he couldn't do that. I will say Brandon Key was the worst person I had on in terms of setting up until you. You were actually, I think, worse than him. So, Brandon, you're off the hook. Yeah, but Brandon's off the hook.
I thought I was prepared.
Now you're the worst. You said, I'm prepared. I'm ready to go whenever you're ready. I'm like, okay, cool. So I send you the link for everyone listening. And it's just the vertical aspect ratio on his cell phone. And as you can see, a pitch black room with a TV on in the background. Nothing's set up. This is what I'm working with, people. This is what I'm working with. I want everyone out there watching to comprehend what I have to deal with. I asked him to send me some topic ideas because every episode I have the co-host send me their topic ideas of things that they want to discuss. So I figured that would make a better episode. His topic ideas was NASCAR. That's what he said, NASCAR. This is what I'm dealing with.
Well, you didn't want to do the porn. We could have done the top 10 best porn videos of the year, and you didn't want to do that.
You'd never even sent me that. Don't even try to act funny now. You never, because I actually probably would have been on board with that, but you never sent me that. So I came up with an idea, and we can just I guess we'll just jump right into it since you haven't helped at all. So my idea for a topic for this episode was bar food. I was thinking about like the best bar food. I think Barstool or Big Cat, or they were talking about bar food. And I was like, that's a great idea. I love good bar food. So I want to do with you a snake draft for the best bar food. And I have a couple. Do you eat a lot of bar food?
Yeah. I'm the DD for my brother at least once a month.
Okay. You're the DD for your brother. Okay.
Yeah.
And we got a comment.
He's younger than me. He's had a divorce. Got a kid. Life's kicked him in the ass a little bit.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I assume you've had your fair share of bar food then. What I was thinking is we'll do 6 items. So it's going to be a snake draft. So if I start, pick one, then you go, you pick 2. You know how snake drafts work, right? Like this isn't too complicated for you. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know
Is
what I'm
that an
dealing with.
insult on my intelligence? Is that what that
That was
right there?
absolutely. I'm glad you picked up on that. That was definitely an insult on your intelligence. So what I want to do was 6 items. 2 of these things have to be things you hold, and then 2 are things that you dip like into a sauce. You don't have to say the sauce or anything, but like a French fry, you dip. A slice of pizza, you hold. Granted, we can get into semantics, like do you dip your pizza in ranch? Just forget the semantics. Do you hold it while you eat it, or do you dip it and then eat it? So you have to do 2, and then the other 2 are just kind of wild cards. You can use whatever you want past that. Do you want to go first?
I can go first. That works for me.
All right.
And with the first pick, I think you got to take wings first, right?
You're going wings first?
Yeah, dip them, right?
Are we going to count that as a dip or a hold? Do you dip them, or do you just hold them while you eat them? Like, do you dip them into a sauce or ranch or blue cheese or whatever the hell?
You got to dip. You got to dip wings.
See, I don't dip wings. I don't. I just eat them how they come. But okay, so we're counting that as a dip for you. So you're taking wings. A little disappointing because that's probably the power hitter. That's like the number one right there. So I get 2 picks. I'm going to start with what I would consider a hold, and that's going to be nachos. Specifically because everything that you eat on the nacho just comes on the nacho. You don't have to dip it, right? If I did like chips and salsa, that's a dip. But the nacho...
Yeah, and plus there's always nachos or some kind of chips out in a little basket. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think nachos, in my opinion, I know wings is like the best pick for bar food. In my opinion, nachos is the best bar food. And maybe it's just better in Austin, or I don't know. But here, the nachos are always incredible. You get a tower of nachos, cover it in whatever meat you want, guacamole, salsa on it, whatever, queso. It's incredible. Nachos is, I think, the best bar food. And then if I had to take a number 2, I'm going to take a dip, and I'm going to go mozzarella sticks.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I know. That was a good one, wasn't it?
That's a good one. Yep.
Okay, so now you get 2 picks.
I'm thinking a hold here, and it's a slider.
Okay. Nice. That's a good one.
And then another dip, fries.
Okay. It's kind of weak. Any explanation behind any of these?
They're just little snacks, fries. Obviously, don't have to explain fries a whole lot. The slider, just whatever, most places have, burgers, but you can get little deli meat on a slider at some places and something easy to eat while you're drinking or whatnot.
Okay. What do you dip your fries in?
Ketchup.
Okay. Just making sure. Some people are weird. Just making sure. Okay. So we're doing 6. You've got 3 down so far. You got wings, sliders, and fries. Pretty solid.
Yep.
So now I get 2 picks, and I'm going to go, let's see. I've done a hold with nachos, mozzarella stick, dip. I'm going to go another dip. I'm going to go jalapeno poppers. Are you a fan of jalapeno poppers?
No.
What do you mean no?
No, I'm not a fan of jalapeno anything.
What? You don't like jalapeno poppers? Oh my gosh.
Nope.
That's insane. You picked French fries, just regular plain old French fries. You're going to try to tell me that jalapeno poppers isn't a good pick? It's insane.
I didn't say it wasn't. I think it's a good pick. They're at a lot of places, but it's just, I didn't say I don't eat them. I don't like them.
Okay.
Not that
Here we
it's not a
go.
good pick.
For my next one, I'm going to go with a hold. I'm just, going back and forth with these. I'm going to go soft pretzel.
Ooh,
Just like a big, like jumbo soft pretzel with some mustard, especially that fancy like German mustard. That's a classic if you're drinking beer. It's so it fills you up. It's exactly what you need. It's not like a huge meal or anything, but if we're just talking about like ordering something while you're drinking beers, soft pretzel. It's a go-to.
Pretzels are great.
Okay.
And what do you
So
dip your pretzel? You dip your pretzel in cheese or butter or a little bit of both?
no. I always just go with the mustard, specifically like a fancy mustard, like the ones with like the mustard seeds in them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's almost like spicy a little bit. I like that. Just like the full on mustard. There was a bar I used to live above in Houston, and that's like the only thing they made was these jumbo Bavarian pretzels, so they're called. And so they would like melt the cheese on top of it and give you this mustard. I mean, I wouldn't even go drink at the bar. I would just call the place and be like, hey, I'm coming downstairs in like 10 minutes. Have this pretzel ready for me because that's my dinner.
Pretzels are great. I like to get the melted butter and the cheese.
Yeah. Jacob says beer cheese. I'm not as big of a fan with the beer cheese. I know that's a popular one. If I'm eating any kind of like liquidy type of cheese, it's going to be queso or nothing. That's at the end of the day, that's how it is. I don't know. Beer cheese. All right. What do you got? So you have 3 right now and I have 4, right?
I think so, yeah.
You ended with fries, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What you got next?
Peanuts.
Okay. It's kind of a bar snack, but I guess I'll count it. It's
lots of little
terrible.
places, lots of little bars here have, peanuts out that you can have. So,
that really doesn't. I always like see that in movies and shit, and they always joke about how unhygienic it is, but I don't really see that much at bars. Maybe it's just around here. It's funny. I never really see peanuts out, like ever. Like I worked at a bar once where we sold peanuts, and it was just like came in a bag, and we would just dump them out into a little bowl to serve to people. That's the only time I've been to a bar that actually has peanuts.
most of the bars around here have them. They'll have them out in little bowls.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a Midwest white trash thing. Are you not concerned about the hygiene of the peanuts?
Nah.
Because it's like a shared bowl, correct? Like anybody can just dip into it? Okay. Mm-hmm. Look out, Wuhan.
I mean, when you go to a bar, you're hoping to find somebody to swap spit with anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, but I don't have to have a shared bowl of peanuts to do that. I'll just start talking to someone like a normal human being. But hey, man, that's your pick. Okay, you get one more pick. I guess peanuts are whole because you don't dip them; they're just small.
Yeah. So what am I at? What, 2 holds or 3 holds and 2 dips?
Wing, you said it was a dip. Slider is a hold. Fries a dip. Peanuts a hold. So you're good. You can just go wherever now.
Pigs in a blanket.
Where in a bar have you ever had pigs in a blanket?
You've never had pigs in a blanket at a bar?
No, like my mom makes them sometimes when people are over at her house. I've never been to a bar where they serve pigs in a blanket.
The bar closest to my house serves pigs in a blanket. Almost every time I go in there, I'll get an order.
At a bar. All right.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the thing that this is exposing the most is how different bar foods can be depending on where you're at. Like a lot of the bars here, like I said, it's either nachos or wings, but a lot of times it's like chips and queso or chips and salsa. It's like the main things. I honestly don't think I've ever been to a bar that served pigs in a blanket. Very weird, but okay. Once again, Chris Bad Takes live. This is Chris Bad Takes live.
But that's not even a take. That's just what, they serve it there.
Okay, so I get 2 picks, and I think that's going to wrap it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll have 1 pick after me. So I get the 2 picks here. You come back with your 1 pick. Let's see. I have nachos, mozzarella sticks, jalapeno poppers, soft pretzel. Damn, mine is so good. Yours is terrible compared to mine. Let's go. You know what? We'll go with fried okra. We'll go fried okra. because I was thinking about doing loaded fries, but you kind of you said fries, so I'm just going to leave that one alone because I'm counting that as just encompassing fries. I'm going fried okra. Do you like fried okra? You eat that much?
No.
Have you ever had fried okra?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen it anywhere.
Man, you're missing out. Do you even know what you know what an okra is?
I do not. What is it?
It's just like it's like a green vegetable. Almost looks like a pepper, but it's not spicy at all. But that's kind of what it looks like. It has no spice at all. And then they fry it like into these little like ball type things. And you just dip it in like ketchup or hot sauce or whatever you want to dip it in. That's crazy. You've never had this. Like I said, this episode more so than anything is showing me the difference in bar foods in regions. I'm pulling up a picture of a fried okra just so you can understand. I didn't know that it wasn't as common. Here, this is a batch of fried okra. There you go.
Okay, I've seen that. So I think somebody in my family makes that for some like family get-togethers.
It's very good, really good. That was a big pickup for me. Just so you know, I know you don't understand that, but that was a really good pickup for me. And then to wrap it up, nobody said this, and I just have to take it off the board. I'm surprised that this hasn't come up, especially with how bad some of yours were. I'm gonna go pizza. Just good old pizza. Good old American pizza. Nothing special about it. It's a bar pizza. It's probably either cheese or pepperoni. You're not getting anything special. But, you know, it's usually like a big slice because it's at a bar. And it's usually really cheap. And in terms of food just to put into your stomach when you're getting a little too drunk, pizza's great. It's greasy. It's filling. No explanation needed. That's it. It's bar pizza.
That's a great pickup right there.
All right, you get one more.
I'm thinking fried pickles.
Ugh, I hate fried pickles.
I don't like them either, but my brother loves them when he's drunk.
You don't even like them?
No, but I see a lot of people eating them. Sometimes, you know.
Chris, you're gonna make me quit podcasting. You are gonna make me quit. You're gonna make me quit podcasting. Just having you on this show is making me like rethink my entire podcast. Okay, here are the picks for best bar food. God, dear God. Okay, here's mine. Nachos, mozzarella sticks, jalapeno poppers, soft pretzel, fried okra, and pizza. That's incredible. That's what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight. Now that I'm reading this out loud. Here's yours. Wings, sliders. So far, so good. Fries, kind of boring. Peanuts, not really food, more of a snack, so weird choice. Pigs in a blanket, what your grandma makes when you go over to her house. Never seen it at a bar before. And fried pickles, which you said yourself you don't even like.
I don't like fried pickles.
Oh my gosh.
Brother's a big fan though. When he goes out and starts drinking, it's fried. Nobody said bread. Isn't that supposed to be really good when you're drinking too?
You're going to just order bread at a bar?
Well, no, but like I've seen it. I've seen some places where they have like special little bread, like their homemade bread, you know, that they have out, or some breadstick.
I mean, I said mozzarella sticks but bread? That's a terrible, Chris.
Man, up here, a lot of places do their own bread. Like homemade bread's a big item here at restaurants and whatnot.
Ew. Like, are you having like a BLT with the bread? Then sure. But just bread?
No, it's just like a loaf of bread, you know?
That is
some butter.
So every bar up there, it sounds like my grandma's house. Homemade bread and pigs in a blanket. That's going to see my grandma. That's not a bar. So sorry, all my listeners from Ohio, but I'll never be going to Ohio to drink. It sounds terrible.
It's a great state. Ohio's a great state.
Ohio's a great state.
Yeah.
Give me your pitch for Ohio.
Man, I don't have one. It's not that great.
Oh.
I don't want to throw it under the bus. I live here, you know. We got a lot of famous people are from here. You want to be an astronaut? you're born in Ohio, your chances go way up.
What?
That's
Is that a
right. Lots
thing?
of astronauts. Yeah, there's a lot of astronauts
Yeah,
that
and then
have
they immediately
came from
leave
Ohio.
Ohio to become an astronaut.
Yeah, that's what the meme says too online. What's so bad about Ohio makes everybody want to leave.
I didn't even. Yeah, just like what's y'all's license plate say? Isn't it something about flight?
First in flight. Yeah.
But that's North Carolina's first in flight.
No. Ohio is. The Wright
No,
brothers were
North
from.
Carolina is.
They
Yeah, but
went
where
down
did
to
they
North
go?
Carolina to
Where did
fly.
they go to fly the fucking plane?
They went down to the beach in North Carolina.
They
but
went to North
they were here.
Carolina.
All the work was done here.
The first
We
flight
are
was
first
in
flight.
North Carolina. You can't claim first in flight if it didn't happen in your state. That's insane.
They're from here. This is where they're from. This is where all the work
So,
was done.
once
This is
again,
where the
they said,
museum
we're
is.
leaving this place to go to a better place to actually make history.
But they did it all here. They did the work here.
And then they flew in North Carolina. That's insane. Ohio's something else. I want, you know how everybody always makes fun of Florida, and Florida's the butt of so many jokes. I want to turn this into an Ohio thing. I want all of the jokes to be at the expense of Ohio. That's my new. That's what I'm going to be focusing on from now on in this podcast. Thank you, Chris, for being on here just to help me realize that I need to focus this entire podcast on making fun of Ohio as much as possible.
It's not terrible here. I mean, it is kind of right there in that weird spot where the winters are terrible and the summers are just as bad, like when it gets real hot.
Does it get hot there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and then in the winter we just
How does it are you sure it gets hot, or are you just saying that because you're from a cold place?
No, it gets hot here. It'll get up to triple digits during the summer.
I have to see it to believe it. I feel like all
But
cold
it's
state
humid.
people say
Like,
that shit.
We get humidity really
Everybody
bad.
says it's so humid.
It does.
There's no way. How would it?
Indianapolis, when we go over there for the Brickyard and whatnot during the summer, when it was in the summer, I think it actually moved back to the summer this year or last year, and they're moving it to the road course. But when you go over there in the summertime, that date is so awful. It's like 110, 115 degrees in the track. Awful.
I'm pretty confident that if I went to any place that you considered hot, I would not consider it hot. I'm pretty confident.
Warm.
I'm pretty confident. As a Texan, I think I would go to I would hang out with any person from Ohio and they would say, "Oh, this is hot." And I would go, "This is spring. I don't know what you're talking about." That's just my opinion though. I'll agree. I wouldn't move up there for the winters to save my life. That sounds terrible. But that's why I live down here, so I don't have to deal with it.
We just got, like I said, the last snow of the year was about 4 weeks ago, and it was like 8 to 12 inches, something like that.
That was probably when we had that ice storm, huh?
Yeah. And on top of that, we had already had like 6 or 8 inches a couple days before, so we ended up with 15, 20 inches of snow out there all at once.
So I guess to wrap this episode up, because it's already gone way too long just having to talk to you. And by the way, Jacob said, yeah, as a Georgian, I don't know. We discussed this in that episode. I don't know what you call somebody from Georgia. He agrees. Ohio, bunch of wusses.
Hey, we got the big museum here for
what museum?
The United
the rock
States.
And roll thing?
Oh, we got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We got the NFL. They play their, big game in the preseason in Canton. Right here where the
Okay, here's another gripe I have with Ohio before we move on, is that Ohio considers themselves like a football state. It's insulting.
We are a football state. Now, when it comes to high school football, nothing's going to come close to, some of those stadiums in Texas are bigger than some college stadiums here.
In my opinion, to be a true football state, you have to be producing the top high school athletes every year. Florida, California, Texas. Georgia, I think, is up there. Come on, Ohio. It's weak. Like, how is Ohio State? Is the majority of the players from Ohio?
I couldn't tell you. You'd have to ask somebody that watches Ohio State football. And
yeah, see, I wouldn't be surprised if like a majority of your top talent comes from outside Ohio. And that's my point. It's fake.
Well, I know Justin Fields is going into the NFL, and they got him on the transfer from Georgia.
There you go. See? Okay, so moving on past the terrible state of Ohio, that's just going to become the butt of every joke. Wrapping it up, figured we'll just talk about Atlanta real quick since that's the next race. Any thoughts? Any predictions?
I think maybe more of what we've seen today, and especially at Vegas. I think the Hendrick cars are going to be strong. You saw the 5 be real strong in Vegas. Lots of tire wear. You're going to be there. Get some good shots for us.
Oh, I'm going to be there. Yeah, I guess
hopefully
first and foremost. Okay, if you have one pick right now, one prediction, one pick to win, who are you picking?
Man, my heart says Chase, but I think that 5 car is going to be pretty sporty.
Yeah? Okay. I'm going with Brad Keselowski. I think he's going to get a win.
He runs pretty good there.
Yeah.
Harvick
I said it here
runs
first.
Really good there.
Remember
Neither
that.
one of us said anything about Harvick on this whole show. And
I know.
He
he just hasn't seemed the same, but he is a guy that could win, yeah. You can't ever really count him out. It's funny, I just count out Kyle Busch now every single week, which is sad. Think about who he was just a couple years ago. No, that's what I'm saying. I just don't even take him seriously at this point.
He needs practice. He needs practice terribly.
Honestly, I think looking forward, I put him at the same level as Austin Dillon in terms of guys that could potentially get a win. Of it's kind of a long shot, but it's possible. That's how I view Kyle Busch right now. It's it's possible that he brings it back and he's extremely talented, but how I've seen him driving this season, I'm I don't know if he will get a win.
And I think it goes back to last season. I think that's a guy who needs to practice to dial his car in. Kyle really struggles with the tight race car, and not having practice. If you start that thing too loose and you wreck or something, that's going to be your day. So they started tighter. So I think he just complains about being tight all race. And, if they had some practice, he'd be able to dial in a little better.
It's funny to see the guy that was going to be the next Jimmy Johnson. Just, I guess, in true fashion, he is becoming Jimmy Johnson in the sense that he can't get a win.
Yeah, Jimmy. And what does that say about Jimmy Johnson, what Larson's been able to do with that team this year so far?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Also, you're a big Jeff Gordon fan, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you agree that Clint Boyer is way better than Jeff Gordon in the booth?
I think that they both are doing a great job. I don't think Jeff's done a bad job in the booth. I think those two together, their friendship shows through, and I think they work really well together.
I think that Jeff in the booth was inevitable. It's Jeff Gordon. That's, he just has the household name that you want in the booth, but he was pretty boring. He's not the charismatic, joking guy. So I think Clint Boyer, especially in this race, Clint Boyer was what that booth needed. And you're right. It has, I think, brought up Jeff because he's able to bounce off somebody that's more charismatic.
When Jeff came up there, there wasn't really that time for funny like Clint has brought. It was more serious, and I think that's what they kind of pushed on Jeff. Was hey,
I think it could have been funny. I just think Jeff is not a funny guy. I don't think he seems like a nice guy, and he laughs at jokes, but I don't think he's the guy that's going to be making the jokes. But he's very knowledgeable.
He's loosened up. He's
very knowledgeable. He knows obviously everything there is about racing, household name. I think it makes perfect sense that he's in the booth, but I think Clint Boyer in that booth with him has just brought it up so much higher. Like this race today, I would be watching and then they would start bantering about something, and I just caught myself laughing, and I was like, wow, that's good commentating if I'm actually engaging with these guys, because usually it's pretty boring. So you have to admit, though, yeah, Clint has made that booth a lot better. And
who are they going to get to replace Mike Joy? I think Mike maybe got 1 year left.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think they don't need to bring in a driver. I think they should bring in a professional commentator, because that's what Mike Joy is. And so to fill his shoes and the role that he plays, because he's kind of the mediator between everything. He keeps everything on track, moves things along. He's a professional commentator. That's what he's a broadcaster, That's what he knows how to do. And I think that's the type of person you need to bring in. Maybe, an older guy, somebody that's been around and knows how to do it.
I think they're going to do Adam Alexander, and I'd hate to see that. I would rather him go out and get Bestwick. Alan Bestwick, I think, would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be good. It'll be interesting. So, yeah, this weekend I will be in Atlanta going to the race.
Now, you going to all of them or just Sunday?
So they're doing the doubleheader on Saturday, right? Trucks and Xfinity. And then so we'll go to all the races. Yeah, because we have the Saturday tickets also. So, yeah. You what?
How long of a drive is that for you?
I'm not driving to Atlanta? Oof. Oh, hell no. No, I'm flying. Let's see. What would that be? Like 14 hours probably. Atlanta, Georgia directions. Let's go. Yeah, I'm going to be staying with Dakota, as everyone knows. Yeah, 13 and a half hours.
That wouldn't be terrible. Driving. We're driving to Darlington. We're not going to fly. I guarantee that's closer than me to Atlanta. Oh, yeah, it is. It's going to be about 10 hours to Darlington, I think.
Week. Yeah, I'll be staying with Dakota, who has been on the show multiple times, and then Jacob, who was on the show just previously. We'll be meeting up with him because he'll be at that race as well. So we'll be putting out a lot of content. And then on Wednesday, this coming up Wednesday, I think what I'm going to try to do is get all the co-hosts back on. And we're going to try to do one like massive thing to wrap up the co-host challenge. Chris obviously will not be winning the position because he's been awful, but he is invited back on Wednesday just so we can make fun of his terrible takes some more. Any last words? I mean, are you going to defend yourself, or is that it?
Going to try to win some races and earn my spot back on here at some point.
Yeah, you need to focus on winning races. You're making me look bad in Erskine.
We're focused. We're 10th in points. It's not terrible, especially considering we wrecked the first week in Daytona.
Yeah, you still got to pay me back for that car that you wrecked, by the way. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on, Chris. I'm glad you could be here. I'll see you again Wednesday. And for all the followers, everybody like, subscribe, all that shit. Twitter, Facebook.
Buy your merch too. Go
YouTube.
Buy some merch.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody should buy my merch. You bought a lot of it. I'm surprised. Has it not come in because you're not wearing?
I haven't. It hasn't even been shipped yet. I've been waiting on it to ship.
Okay. Yeah, it's taken quite a while. So, yeah, that's going to wrap it up.
I bought a bunch, so it's going to take them a minute.
And just as a reminder, I'm doing that NASCAR Madness Worst Fan Base. For anybody that hasn't been keeping up with that just wrapped up. So we're going to be going down to the final four now. And Chase Elliott beat Kyle Larson. Not really surprising there. Bubba Wallace destroyed Ryan Blaney. Not surprised there. Joey Logano.
That's a guy from Ohio. Buckeye Bullet. His dad's nickname was the Buckeye Bullet. Raced all the local tracks around here.
Yeah, and I don't really like Ryan Blaney. So that kind of keeps that tradition going. Joey Logano beat Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch absolutely destroyed Brad Keselowski. That was like the most lopsided one right there. So yeah, those are going to be our final four. Chase Elliott is going to be going against Joey Logano, and Bubba Wallace is going to be going against Kyle Busch. I'll probably be putting that poll up tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. And thanks everybody for tuning in. I will see y'all again on Wednesday. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun to be here.
Peace.